Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of Talkin Schmoedown. I am here with episode 65, and I am your host, Josh the Merc Raynor, and we've got a lot to talk about. I was out last week, wasn't feeling great. A lot of stuff going on over the last couple of weeks. My best friend's mom passed away, so I was gone for a few days, and but I wanted to make sure that I got back in here and got you all the great Schmoedown talk that you deserve. And I'm really excited to talk about it because last week was nuts, and this past one was also kind of crazy. A lot of stuff going on. Friday Night Titans is really heating up, so I'm really excited to talk about it. But before we get into the two events, I wanted to talk about one of the things that kind of popped up during the press conference. I watched the most recent press conference, and Christian was talking a bit about the Star Wars division. Now, I've talked about this on the show before. How he's not really sure what they're going to do with the Star Wars division. They're trying to figure all that out, and that's still kind of the case. But he brought up the idea of kind of having people give their ideas as well. And it got me thinking about how I would get the Star Wars division kind of up and running again during this new era, so to speak. And I had a couple of different ideas. One I really doubt he would be into, and that is making it digital. Whether it's a bunch single digital matches or just like a digital tournament, kind of like how they did last year on Twitch. I think that would probably be one of the easier ways to do it. Even though, like I said, I know he does not like digital at all. But at least then it would be getting these players some exposure and some play time. And you could do like the big matches, like you could do like the number one contender match, you could do the title match on Friday Night Titans or on a pay-per-view, and keep the rest of it digital. But if that is not the way, as I said, most likely he would want to go. My other thought was, this is something that I've been saying ever since I saw the new studio. The player desks are a perfect setup for a four-way match. You can have four competitors up there at a time. And back in the day, when Star Wars first started, both Star Wars and Inner Geekdom, 3, 4, 5-way matches were a very common thing in those divisions. And so I think bringing back those multiplayer matches, a 4-way match for Star Wars, maybe once a month, do a 4-way Star Wars match. You get the Star Wars players get some exposure. They get, like I said, some play time, and you can lead up toward a number one contender match. Have maybe 4 of them, and then the winners of each of those. You could do a lot of things with that. And then the title match could be like, that could be the big pay-per-view event. But I really want the Star Wars division to come back. Now, I don't know a lot about the Star Wars, you know what I mean? Like, I love the movies, but these questions are typically over my head. But it's a division that I think has grown in such popularity that it needs to come back in some way, shape, or form. There's a huge fan base for it, and there's a lot of amazing talent that has come out of the last couple of years that if we don't get a Star Wars division, then we're never going to see again, because most of these players were strictly Star Wars, and that's it. They didn't do any of the other divisions. And so, like Gold Leader and Laura Kelly and the Damons. I mean, Alex has kind of dipped his toe into Inner Geekdom a bit, but wasn't great at it. Thomas Harper, obviously. There are so many amazing players. I feel like it would be a huge shame to never see them play again. And so I really hope he's able to figure it out, because it needs to happen. It needs to happen. So, all right. We're going to get into the actual Schmoedown events that we have taken place over the last couple of weeks. We got a lot that happened. We got a new champ. We had an old team come back and dominate. A lot of great stuff going on here. So I'm really excited to get into everything, and I hope you are as well. So, but before we actually dive into the Friday Night Titans number 4, the pay-per-view, earlier last week there was a lot of debate going on. Might have even been in like the week before and coming in about who Samm Levine should team with. Like we all know Samm Levine, amazing singles player, and he was an amazing teams player as well. He was teamed up with Drew McWeeny back in the day. They won the titles and had a great run. Now, everybody's wondering, like, whoa, who should he team with? Who should he team with? They're throwing out all these names, Dan Merle and everything, getting back together with Drew McWeeny. And I'll be honest with you, after seeing what he did in these 2 matches that he has played, I think he needs to just stick to singles. Focus on the one division. Really focus. Not worry about another player or any of that stuff. Because I personally do not want to see him back together with Drew McWeeny, because I want to see him have a feud with Drew McWeeny. I don't know where he is in the standings right now, because as we know, as we've watched the paper, for those of you who watched the pay-per-view, if you don't know why you're watching this is all spoilers. But he is now the new champ, so if we are going to get, to have a feud with Drew, Drew's going to have to work his way back up through the ranks. But that's something I would really like to see. Former teammates, now bitter rivals. I think that would make for awesome television, personally. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Let me know what you guys think. If you're here, you can hop in the comments, or you can just hit me up on Twitter at movieblogmerc, as you can see down there at the bottom of the screen, on Twitter. And let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear. Is that a feud you'd like to see, or are you really dead set on Samm having a teammate as well and getting back to being the double champ? I mean, either way, it'll be interesting no matter what they choose to do. I trust Harloff in the decisions that he's been making. So, whatever happens, I'll be there for it. So, all right. So we're gonna get into this pay-per-view from the 2 weeks ago. And I gotta say, probably the best previously on of the season so far. It was beautifully done. It pulled from multiple seasons past. It was like one of the first times really that they've done that. They've been kind of mostly sticking with like the end of last season and like Spectacular Time and the stuff that they've already done this season for the previously ons. But this one was fantastic, and I'm not sure who's doing the video packages anymore, because I'm pretty sure Nerd Chronic retired from that from the Schmoedown. So I'm not sure who's doing it now, but bravo! I think it was very, very well done. All right, so we got our first scene. Marisol and Shannon. They're talking. Everything that happened the previous week with Adam Collins still taking a toll on them. And Shannon she's blaming herself for everything that went on. She's trying really hard to apologize to Marisol for everything. And she even goes as far as to tell Marisol that she would understand if she wanted to leave corruption and go somewhere else, which I was like, wow. She fought so hard to keep Marisol on corruption. That's a huge thing to see her saying that she would be okay with it based on the things that she's done. That means that she's really feeling remorseful about everything that she's done. And she doesn't do that, you know what I mean? Marisol, she's going to stand by Shannon. She knows that Shannon messed up. You can see it in her face when they're talking. She knows that Shannon messed up, but she's not willing to just continue to punish her for that, because that's not what she wants corruption to be anymore. Shannon says, they're gonna start playing this legit. They're gonna play with dignity from now on, except when it comes to Gucci, which I totally agree with. And it got me wondering, is this the official face turn for Corruption, for Shannon and Corruption? Now, during the match that we see during this pay-per-view, you know, she gets a little, there's still a little bit of that Shannon in there, of course. But it's still not as much as we have seen it over the last 2 years. And so the thought of Shannon going face and taking Corruption face, I think is really intriguing. I would love, because like we've seen Mike do it. He was face before. I don't think he's as compelling of a character when he's not the heel. But could they do a tweener kind of thing where they're kind of riding the line? Maybe. I don't know. I don't see Marisol as a heel. I never have. She's been on a heel faction. But I've never seen her as a heel personally. She's just a beast. She gets shit done, you know? And so I think if anybody can get Shannon and Corruption to that point, it'll be Marisol. I wonder if Chance can do it though. You know what I mean? Like we've seen Chance throughout several years, several seasons of the Schmoedown. And honestly, nothing has ever told me that he could play a face. But you never know. You never know. I'd be interested to see if this is kind of where it goes and how it will affect the cohesion of this team, of this faction. So I guess we'll have to see. Then we get another scene. We got Shazam and Koi, and they're doing some strategy talk. And then Christian Harloff comes in. He walks in, and he wants to talk about teams. You know, Shazam has, a match coming up, but he can't find a number one contender for them. You know, he says, press room's not available. The Wild Berries aren't available. None of these teams are available. He says, but there's one team. And of course, that team is Corruption. They're not pleased with this. You know, they've had more than enough scuffles with the Corruption. And Koi says that if this is what's going to happen, if Corruption is going to be the team that they have to face for the titles, then there has to be a stipulation here. And that stipulation is when Shazam wins, not if, but when, and I agree with Koi, when Shazam wins, Corruption splits up. Now, this goes along with what I was just talking about. If Corruption loses, this can be the catalyst for what pushes the faction Corruption to the next level. Okay, to get into that face level that I was talking about, because Mike can be a face that's not like a goody baby face. You know what I mean? He can be like a serious face. I believe he can do that. I just, like I said, I don't know if Chance can do that. So if in my opinion, when they lose, Chance can move on somewhere else. And I think really that's the only way that they're going to really be able to take the faction of Corruption and make it face, if that's what they're going for. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. That's the fun of all this. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Again, if you're watching, drop into the comments. Let me know. Otherwise, hit me up on Twitter at MovieBlogMerc. Let me know your thoughts on where you would like to see Corruption go, what you think the path might be for the faction, for the team, everything in between. All right. So we're going to get into that first match. William Bibbiani versus Chance Ellison. We finally got an entrance. You know, as I was watching this match, I said, I really need to see Bibbs come out to an entrance, because that was a big thing that he did all the time. Huge entrances. And so I was so delighted when we actually got an entrance here. And this was a cool one. It was this high concept meta entrance where they were like protesting that they should be able to do a high concept entrance. and in turn, that meant they were doing it. It was really interesting to see, and I loved it. It was a great way to kind of break back into the big entrances. And as we see in this week, we got another big entrance, which I'll talk about later, which was really cool as well. And so we get into this first round, and they stay real level with one another. Nobody goes perfect here. It's 8-8 at the end of that first round. But these two players, they're top level players. But even the best can have some slips and falls here and there. And but like I said, they stayed level with one another. No big gaps in points or anything like that. No big snafus. So that was great to see. Then we get into round 2, and the very first thing I noticed about round 2, the wheel seems to have been loosened up a bit from the previous weeks, where it seemed real tight. And I am really pleased that they loosened up that wheel, because it was just really awkward how just short the spins would be, and they just stopped real fast. And so the fact that they loosened it up a bit, it gives it a little bit more drama. That wheel spins a little bit more. You don't know where it's going to go. So I'm glad that they did that. So Chance is up first, and he winds up on Kevin Smith. And this is a category that I personally love. I love Kevin Smith. And there was, I think, one question that I missed, if I'm not mistaken. And it was because I just wasn't thinking. And it was that Mallrats one. And I felt stupid about it because like that tagline, it's like, it's obvious, but I don't know why in my brain I just was not thinking about it at the time for some reason. And I thought it was something else. But he does pretty good here. Misses one. Luckily for him, though, Bibbs not able to capitalize on this one here. And unfortunately for Bibbs, this winds up putting him behind coming out of this round at the end. But Bibbs gets historical epics and dramas. Now, this is a category that, like, most people kind of try to avoid. It's really awkwardly broad, and there's so many different things that could be in this thing. And they're the kind of movies I feel like that aren't typically focused on by most people who watch movies. And so it tends to be a little bit harder. But Bibbs, he's a different kind of, to use his nickname, a different kind of beast. And he does really well in this as well. But also missing one just like Chance. However, Chance was able to get that 1 point steal, and this put him ahead 17-16 at the end of the round. It was a solid round from both these guys. They both had really good round 1 and 2. Neither of them went perfect, but really high level play, and that's what I expect. And again, on the same level, really. Only difference was that Bibbs wasn't able to capitalize on the steal, and so otherwise, if he had gotten that steal, then they would be tied again. This would have been a really tight back and forth. And it really, even with the gap of 1 point, it was still a really tight back and forth. Then we get into round 3, and it comes down to that 5-pointer, as it does so many other times. And Chance, sorry, buddy. Sorry, Cobra. Unable to get that 5-pointer, giving William Bibbiani the win, 26-22. My boy, William Bibbiani, I was rooting for him the whole way. I always do. And I was so happy. Had me nervous there, I was getting worried, because if Chance had gotten his 5, then we wouldn't be talking about that. It'd be a whole different ball game. So you never know what's going to happen. It could literally be anything, any question, any amount of points that could take you down. And in this instance, it happened to be Chance's 5. So then, nothing really too interesting happened during the post interviews. Some goofy stuff. Chance being his broody kind of self. And then we got a scene in between matches. Marisol and Sam, a real simple scene, nothing too crazy. Marisol and Sam telling her just how great she is. how honored he is to be facing her. She says, that she reciprocates, all the love. They shake hands, and then Samm goes off to find his Uber Eats driver, and that's it. Real simple. Just something to lead in, show how classy both of these competitors really are, leading into this match. And that match is Samm Levine versus Marisol McKee for the singles championship, the first singles championship match of the year. And holy shit, was it amazing. I have to say, before I even get into it, probably one of, if not the best match that we've ever had in the Schmoedown. And I know that seems, I don't know if that seems like a hot take or not, but to me, everything that went down in this match, from the gameplay to the sheer amount of points to the record that's broken at the end, it's incredible what happened here. It's not something that we've ever seen before, and so I think that's why this I feel like I don't think that there will be any other match that will top this one this year. So I feel like we've already seen our match of the year, and I think this is definitely in running for match of all time. That's just my opinion. So they both get a perfect first round, 11-11. They just smoke right through all those questions. They get perfect round twos with Samm spinning comedy and Marisol spinning Jodie Foster. Again, like I said, they go perfect. Samm pulled out some big answers. He struggled a bit, but he got them. And Marisol did fantastic in hers, 21-21 at the end of round two. It's nuts. Like, there was a lot going on here, but it's kind of hard. Like, there's not a lot to necessarily talk about because just how damn well they did. There was no controversy, no challenges, no flubs, nothing. Just perfect answers, perfect rounds. It was incredible to watch. Then we get into round three, the betting round. Marisol first spins Harrison Ford, and then finally we get to see the utilization of the respin on the round three, and she respins it, and of course lands right back on Harrison Ford. And they both wager three, of course. That's what you're gonna do here. These two competitors are far too confident to have wagered anything other than that. I would have been surprised if either of them had wagered less than three. And they both nailed it. So now we're 24-24. It's just dead heat all the way through three rounds. And then we come to the dreaded speed round. Now, the speed round, I think I agree with Christian. This version of the speed round is way better than what he calls the fast money round, which we saw in the digital, which was the 10 questions. This adds the drama to it. Like, I feel like if we did fast money, this match would have gone on forever. They probably both would have gotten all the answers, and then we would have gone into sudden death. Who knows how long that would have taken. But the speed round, the buzzer round, is what really adds the sport element to the Schmoedown. And Samm has not lost a beat. This guy hit 4 out of 5 questions, which I was like, holy shit. He's just nailing these things, man. Buzzer. I feel like he goes to bed, buzzer in hand. He's sleep buzzing, like I don't know how he is so fast on this buzzer, but that was a thing that's kind of what won him matches in the past, was this quick hand on the buzzer, and being able to get 4 out of 5, man, that's intense. Marisol got the other one, and so this put Samm 3 points ahead. They were deadlocked all game, tied all the way up, and now Samm has a 3-point lead, and that's not good. With the way the game has been going, you don't want that, and unfortunately for Marisol, they both went perfect this round, in the 5th round, and Samm gets the win 38-35. This is the first time ever that both players have gone completely perfect in a 5-round match. It's incredible to see. Not a single point missed. No one checked it to multiple choice. It was incredible. And it's that speed round. That speed round makes the difference, you know? Like I said, it puts the sport into the sports entertainment side of the Schmoedown. And I really think this is a thing that people really need to focus on, you know? Most people don't think about it because you don't play 5-round matches very often. And so if you're going to strive to be an elite player, you got to get the buzzer round down. It is imperative that you practice mock matches, time yourself, speed, boom, boom, boom. How fast can you get to that thing? And I understand it's also about recall, but like you got to be able to hit that button. You got to get in there and you got to hit. Don't hesitate. Marisol hesitated. Shannon even talks about this during the post interview. Marisol, there was like one of the questions where she hesitated and Samm capitalized and nabbed it ahead of her. So you got to be confident and you got to go for it and hope you get it right. Because like even Samm guessed on one of them. It was between 2 movies. It was between Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty. And he picked Evan Almighty. And he got it right, you know. He could have gone the other way, and really screwed, you know. A lot. I mean, he still would have won though. That's the thing, because that would have cost him essentially 2 points. And since he won by 3, he still would have won. That's the crazy part, is he could have screwed himself there and still won the match just because he's nailing all the other ones so much. It was wild to see. It was an incredible match. Again, like I said, this might be the greatest match of all time. Absolutely the match of the year. I do not think any other match is going to top it. We never know, though. If we could get another match that's better than this one, then this will be the greatest year of the Schmoedown that we've ever seen. Like that, it's already turning out to be one of the best seasons that we've ever seen. But if we get another match that's better than this one, it'll solidify season 9 as the greatest season of all time. It's incredible. Shannon actually was pretty inspiring. She gave an inspiring speech to Marisol here during the post interview. And to me, it proves why she is the greatest manager of all time. You know, a lot of people want to say it's Gucci, and I'm like, nah. Gucci is good on the mic. He's a damn good manager. Problem is, he's so unpredictable, and at times unreliable. As we saw last year, when he was not around a lot, you know, and that is why I couldn't pick him for manager of the year last year at all. He wasn't even in consideration for me because he wasn't around a lot of the time. And so I think these are big reasons, and this is why I think and it's weird because like Shannon came in at the end of season 6, like during Spectacular, I believe is when she came out, and then we get into season 7. You know, things started off good, you know, and everything. She's got the faction and everything, and then we get into the digital and everything, and she just shined throughout these last 2 years. And there's a reason. It's because she is that damn good. Shannon is incredible. And I never, when she took over Corruption, I didn't think I was going to like her. You know what I mean? Because she was the heel. And I didn't think I was going to like her. But like, I don't know what it is. She has the charisma of a freaking 1,000 suns or something. I don't even know, man. I have no analogy for it, but I don't know, man, how she managed to pull it off, but she has become the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest manager of all time. I'm sure that some of you out there are going to disagree with me and have your own hot takes or whatever. So feel free hop in the comments, hop on the Twitter at MovieBlogMerc. Let me know. Let me hear it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. We also got confirmation that Marisol will be getting a number 1 contenders match soon, as well. She's still in the game. She's it's not like she's going to the back of the line or anything. And my assumption is that she's either going to be facing Ethan or maybe Bibbs or Griffin Newman, depending on how they work everything. Because I think Ethan is next in line, I believe. He would be because he was number 2 under Samm, so he would be the next one. And so I'm wondering if maybe they'll do like a couple of matches, like maybe Marisol and Ethan, and then like maybe or like Marisol and Griffin and Ethan and Bibbs, because it would be like the 1 and 3 and the 2 and 4 player, and then the winners would face off against one another. I don't know, or if maybe she's just going to straight up get a number 1 contender match against just Ethan, most likely then. Either way, I think it'll be. I mean, she beat him before, and that's who she took the title from last year. So if it is Ethan, I think she'll be able to handle it. Whether she'll be able to take out Samm, I don't know. It's all about that speed round, really, is what it's about. If she can hone her speed round skills with the buzzer, I think she could do this. And then we got a post scene for this one. Ben and Kate hinting at Ben Bateman challenging somebody. At that point, we had no idea who it was. But as we found out, we get into the next episode of Friday Night Titans, we do find out exactly who that is. And we're going to get into it right now. So, yeah, that was the pay-per-view. I'd love to hear your thoughts before we get into the next episode. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What did you think of the pay-per-view of Friday Night Titans episode 4? Let me know in the comments or hop on Twitter at MovieBlogMerc. Let me know. And I'm curious, who did you think was going to be Ben's partner? Or not Ben's partner, Ben's opponent. Who did you think it was going to be? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I didn't get to ask this question last week, which would have been better because then nobody would have known. But I'm curious who everybody thought it was going to be, because there were a lot. I mean, my first thought was, is it going to be Dan Murrell? Because that would be cool. Former teammates. Now he's going to challenge him. That would be a pretty epic match, I think. So I'll say this for anybody out there who hasn't watched it. I'm about to spoil that. It was not Dan Murrell. So we will get into episode 5 of Friday Night Titans right now, which started off with a scene with a couple of people we have not seen in a while. We had Nick Harley and Jacoby Bancroft, Chaos Theory. And they're super confused. They have no idea what's going on with the Stars, with Roxy. They want to try to save the Stars, to save Roxy from Chandru, from the toxicity of Chandru, and bring her back to the light, to the good side. And Nick says, he'll talk to her. He'll go and talk to her. And I wrote this in my notes. My very first thought as I watched this was, Nick Harley is going to double cross Jacoby. That's what's going to happen. And as we see at the end, sure as shit, I called it. Nick Harley does wind up turning on him. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we get when we get there. But man, I honestly didn't think we were going to get a resolution to that in the same episode. I thought that was going to maybe carry over, but apparently not. So then we get another scene. We got Brandon Hanna and Coy. Hanna is excited about being on the Mercs, and then out comes Jesse Swift, former member of the Quirky Mercs, confronts Coy for dropping him to pick up Brandon Hanna instead for Inner Geekdom. And due to all of this, Swift challenges Hanna to show McCoy, you know, what he lost essentially. And he calls them the quirky jerks, which I thought was funny. But I thought this was a great way to set up like maybe a mini feud, you know, here between Jesse Swift and Brandon Hanna. You know, the spurned player who was booted out for someone else who, you know, in his first teams match couldn't even get the job done. Wasn't Intergeekdom, but it was still a match. So like it almost makes it look like, oh well, you picked up somebody new, you know, to the team, and he couldn't even get the job done in his teams match. And so it made complete sense as to why Jesse Swift would be coming out like this. And that's the kind of stuff I want to see. And I love that that's what we're getting. And then we get into the studio and Rachel fucking Cushing on the desk. Finally, I was so excited to see this. Rachel Cushing is incredible. She is one of the absolute best Intergeekdom players to ever play the game. So it was incredible to see her on the desk for this match, finally getting her in there. We knew before that she was going to be part of the desk team. And so it's nice to finally see her getting in there. And as the announcers, as her and Mark are talking, Ben Bateman comes out. You know, the match hasn't even started yet. Ben Bateman comes out. And he decides he's going to announce who he's going to challenge. He is going to challenge the one and only, the self-proclaimed best 3-0 player out there, Rick the Rager Raddus. This guy. Last year we had a lot of really interesting rookies come into play. And this guy came in with this crazy gimmick, this Daddy-O gimmick. I don't even know what to call it. And he got under my skin, but I couldn't help but be intrigued by him, you know? And the problem that I have is that he completely dropped part of this gimmick. He no longer does the accent or anything. He barely does any of the the catchphrases or anything that he was doing. He really toned down his character, and I am not a fan of that. Like, everything he did last season was what, to me, made him stand out, made him really interesting. And if we're not going to keep that, then what's the point of even doing part of it? Completely change your gimmick there, repackage yourself and come in as something new. But I don't know, man. I wasn't a fan of that. But like I said, Ben challenged him. Raddus came out and told Ben that he has to earn it first, because like I said, he's the best 3-0 player out there. And he says that if Ben can find himself a partner and face him and Brother Lomis in a tag match, then he'll give him the singles match that he so desperately wants. And he's giving him 45 minutes to find a partner. We even get a little clock at the top of the screen, the Raddus clock, which I thought was funny. And this, we find out some cool stuff later on about what's going to happen with this. And I got more to say about him and Lomis once that match comes around. But first, we get into the Jesse Swift versus Brandon Hanna match for the Intergeekdom match. Brandon got himself an entrance here. That's right. So it seems to be the quirky Mercs are the ones dominating the entrances at the moment, because we had Bibiani the week before, and now we got Brandon Hanna this week, where he's got like a bunch of like villains that come out, and he knocks them out. You can tell one of them was Winston, one of them was Brother Lomis, and I'm not sure who the other one is. It might have been Rick Raddus. I'm not sure. But you could tell at least those two were there, which I thought was funny. But yeah, he knocks out these 3 villains, and then he does his thing. He goes, because he is the Hornet. I thought it was fun. Nothing too crazy, nothing too big. But I like that we're really finally starting to see more of these entrances. So hopefully they'll get a little bit more elaborate, do some more, because these do some incredible entrances, especially Bibiani. Bibiani, man, he was the guy. Him, Branch Handler, Stacy Howard, and them. Even like Janine. Janine did some amazing ones as well back in the day. So I really want to see that. I think that's something they should do. They should go back and make like a compilation video of like some of the best entrances ever made and post that up on the channel, because I'd love to go back and just watch some of the amazing entrances that have happened. Just watch a video of that. I think that would be incredible to see. So we get into the match. Neither of them do very well in round 1. Okay, it's 7-6. Jesse Swift in the lead here. I was really surprised, Brandon Hanna, for everything that, we talked about with his team's match when he did that. He's supposed to be Inner Geekdom, man. Like 6 points out of 10. That's not good. It's just not, man. And hopefully both of these guys can, especially Brandon, because he's going to be moving forward and having more matches because he wins this match, as we find out later. If he's not going to shore up these kind of gaps in his knowledge, then he's not going to make it far, and then what was the point of dropping Jesse Swift or not picking up somebody else that could have been picked up? I don't know. It's tough, but he's not going to be elite if he can't get at least 8 points. Realistically, that's just the way it's going to be. He has to get over that hump. So we get into round 2. Jesse gets fantasy sci-fi. He misses one and then drops to multiple choice a couple times. Brandon picks up a big 2-point steal here. That was huge. And then Brandon gets Middle Earth, and he winds up missing 2 questions here, but Jesse's only able to capitalize on one of them for a 1-point steal. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Brandon missed 4 questions in the first round, missed 2 questions in round 2. You can't do that if you're going to be an elite player. You really, really can't. And he got lucky that Jesse had a terrible round 3. Hanna had to answer his 2 because Jesse was ahead 14-13 at the end of round 2. And then Jesse blew all 3 of his round 3 questions. And I don't know how many times that's happened. It's not often. And I did not think that was going to happen here. I really didn't. It's hard to see because like Jesse had the lead all the way through. He led round 1, he led round 2, and then all it takes is a bad round 3 to just send you packing, and that's what we saw here. He couldn't even throw it back to Brandon Hanna, unfortunately. And Hanna wins the match 15-14. It's not a TKO because he was behind coming in, but if he had been ahead by 1 point instead of behind, this would have been a TKO because he lost all 3 of those questions, and it's heartbreaking to see. Yeah, and then the after the post interviews, again, nothing too exciting or crazy. Jesse's not happy about what happened, and Brandon is being that overly cheerful good guy. I don't know how long that's gonna last. We'll see. It's interesting. It's an interesting change. I'm still getting used to it because I'm so used to him being a not great guy, a guy who I used to like razz on Twitter because for his character, and he knew, we exchanged messages about it, There were a few times where I wanted to make sure, certain things I said were okay, before I said them, things like that. Just to try to kind of play his character up a bit more, because he was so good at it, so good at getting under the skin of fans. It was incredible. And to see him as this kind of like goofy face, I don't know how, but it works. I don't know. I don't understand how it works, but it does. It's weird, and you never know. Like, part of me is like, is he just gonna turn one day and we're not gonna see it coming? I don't know, man. But it's keeping me on my toes. It keeps me a little uneasy, and I kind of dig that. So then we get a scene. We got Rick Raddus and Brother Lomis. Lomis is worried that Raddus is in over his head a bit with this whole Ben Bateman thing. And Raddus is reassuring him. He's like, we got this. I got this. And again, it's still weird having him not talk in his accent from last season. And it's also, I'll be honest, weird seeing Brother Lomis I want to say in person, but I'm still watching it on a TV, but like not through a little computer screen, as we saw in the digital. He's there, in the studio. It's weird to see, there's no black and white or anything, like no filter, or anything like that. So it was interesting. And then we're gonna find out who Bateman's partner is. But first, Lomis and Raddus come out, and they are now called the Reckoning. I think it's a good name. I don't know how it fits in with the Rager, but it definitely fits in with Brother Lomis. But in general, I think I like the name. And then Ben comes out. He gets a text message right at the last second, right at the last minute, saying, "Oh, he's got a partner," and it is none other than fucking Andrew Ghai, baby. That's right. Team Action is back, at least for this match. And holy shit, I was so thrilled to see this. Andrew Ghai on the desk is incredible. He has been one of the best commentators that we've ever seen. But having him come in and reform Team Action, even if it's only for one night, it was just incredible. And Ghai has not missed a step character-wise. It's like Team Action never left. Where's the belts, baby? Later on, we get a Champ's Lunch reference, which I was like, yes, Champ's Lunch. But they haven't missed a beat. And in fact, Ghai has gotten better. He blows it out of the water in this match. It's crazy how good. He kind of became synonymous, or kind of like similar to like Josh McCouga, where it's like he might get some answers, he might not get some answers. Who knows? But he's always fun to watch. But man, he crushed it and was the most entertaining person of all of them. And there's some big personalities happening in this match. So throughout this match, throughout round one, I noticed that Raddus and Lomis seemed to just completely lose their mojo. There's like no character work happening. They seem kind of almost down. I don't know if like being in the studio was daunting, if being there with Team Action was a little too much. Because I mean, they can be a bit intimidating. Ghai, especially Ghai, because he's firing on all cylinders in this match, and I feel like that could be intimidating. But it just, especially Lomis, it felt like he just wasn't in it. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. I hope there was nothing like going on like outside of it. I hope he's okay if that is the case. But it just, I was expecting that big bravado preacher character to be, talking his stuff, and you know what I mean, and trying to get into their heads, but it barely happened, outside of the the promos, the video, the scenes that we saw, and then like the post-credit interview, the post-interview. During the match, we got like none of that. And same with the Rager. There was like nothing. There was no, they seemed kind of, I think the best word would be they seemed kind of timid. And I'm like, this is not what I expected from them. So hopefully they'll get over that. And if it was nerves or whatever it was, hopefully they'll get over that hump and be able to flourish. Because I think that they make a great team together. Like these two personalities are fascinating to work off of one another. So I really hope to see them, kind of get back in the game of it and flourish as well. I think they'll be a great team if they can kind of really just lock in and have fun with it, just the way that Team Action did. And they did fantastic here. I think Lomis missed one question. It was the Evil Dead question, and everybody else got a perfect round, including Andrew Ghai. Team Action together got a completely perfect round, including the bonus question. So round one, 22-20 in favor of Team Action. I was like, holy shit, Andrew Ghai, he's here to play, man. Like he ain't screwing around. I was worried about it. I'll be totally honest with you. I was worried that Ben would have to be kind of carrying this match, but nah, Andrew Ghai over here just pulling his weight and kicking ass. I loved it. So then we get into round two. The Reckoning winds up on the Rocky franchise, and Team Action taking selfies during the round was hilarious. They were probably up there in entertainment value with like what we saw with Wildberries and the very first match of the season. Like just incredible stuff. I need to see Wildberries versus Team Action in this studio, both of them doing their crazy stuff. That's what I want to see. I think it would be an incredible match, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm sure Team Action probably would, but you never know. You never know. Also Ghai skipping around the studio. I literally burst out laughing while I was sitting here watching it. I could not help myself. I just burst out laughing when Ghai was skipping around the studio. And so the Reckoning winds up missing two, and Team Action got a 2-point steal off of this. They missed one of the steals, but I don't count that against them. I don't know how the records count as far as like perfect games go or whatnot, but I didn't count that against, because it wasn't their question specifically. But technically, they did miss that one steal. And then Team Action spins, and I was like, "Holy shit! You got to be kidding me!" They landed on Tom Cruise. And any of you out there who know Team Action, who've ever watched their show or any of their ever listened to them talk, looked at their Twitter page, for crying out loud, know that they love Tom Cruise. I was like, holy shit, I can't believe that this just happened. And we actually got our first challenge here. It's of this night, I guess you could say. I feel like it's been a bit. I'm not even sure. I'm trying to think if there was actually a challenge. I'm forgetting, to be totally honest. It's only been a few weeks and I'm already forgetting. But there obviously wasn't one the previous week, because I just talked about that whole episode. And now we got a challenge on the board here. And I thought this was a great challenge, because as soon as he says the question and then Mark says it's wrong, I'm like, no. Instantly, I'm like, no. According to the brand new rules, that should be correct. Because as Ghai and Ben state, that specifically Ben, I think, is the one who states the rules. According to the brand new rules, if the franchise is stated in the question, You do not need to state the full name of it. You can just give like either the number or the subtitle or whatever, like that. So, and him saying MI3, especially with MI3 being kind of like what it's called in a lot of marketing and things like that, perfectly acceptable. And I'm glad that the line judge agreed with that. They got the points because it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game, but it could have theoretically thrown Team Action off of their game. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that did not happen. And so even though they did not check to, or that even though they checked to multiple choice twice during their round, they still wound up getting a perfect round here in round 2. They got all their questions right. Like I said, they did not get that steal, but they did get all of their questions right. Now, the only issue that I had with their gameplay throughout this round was that there was multiple times where they slow played it. Now, I know that's like a thing that they do, right to the last second, but they slow played it so close that they almost didn't, because there were a couple times where like Ghai was fumbling with his answer and it almost cost them the answer. And so I know that's their thing. I know that's their shtick, but I think that they gotta chill on that. They really need to just get the answer out. Even say wait till 2, instead of waiting until 1 and then saying wait till 2 and then say it. But because if he had said the wrong thing, he wouldn't have had any time to fix his answer. You know what I mean? It would have been done, and that would have screwed them over. So at the end of round 2, we're at 32-26, a 6-point lead, which is incredible. It's almost impossible to come back from that. It's not completely impossible, but it's almost impossible. You have to ask Frank Janis what the stats are on people with a 6-point deficit coming back to win a game. It's rare. It's very rare. And so we get into round 3, and the reckoning was, they made it all the way to their 5. They were unable to get that 5. And this gives Team Action a TKO win here, and what I called a technical perfect game, 32-31. Not a single question missed of their own questions, only the one steal that they missed. But of their game, they had a technical perfect game, and that means that's the first perfect game for Team Action, because this was the first perfect game for Andrew Ghai. And so that's incredible to me. They come back after 4 years, I think, kind of like Samm coming back after 4 years and running a perfect game in his second match, was it his first match too? He did. He had a perfect game both those matches, and maybe more people just need to take 4 years off, come back and run some perfect games. I don't know, but I really hope we get to see more Team Action, to be honest with you. So then during Team Action's post interview, Rick Raddus comes in hot. He's confirms the challenge to Ben Bateman for next week. And my first thought was, where was all this energy during the match? You're coming in hot here. You're doing your Rick Raddus thing. You're doing the Rager. Where was the Rager during the match? I don't know. But he sure as hell wasn't there. Hopefully the next time we'll see him there. And I caught something. I'm sure other people caught this as well, but Ghai made a comment that he said he may not, something along the lines of he may not play, but he would manage Ben. And it got me. I was like, wait a minute. Ben has a manager. He's on the Den, and Kate is his manager, even though she wasn't there. So what does this mean? Is Ben gonna leave? Is Ghai gonna join the Den? Is he gonna be like a co-manager, or was it just a slip of the tongue? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, what you think is going on here. And also, like I said before, champs lunch. That's right. Got to have that champs lunch. And then the Reckoning gets their interview. And again, full force into their characters here. Just like when Rick Raddus was, crashed Team Action's interview. But where was this during the match? We need the Rager. We need Brother Lomis. We need these characters to be these characters through their match. If they can't play while being these characters, then maybe don't be these characters. Because then it just doesn't feel like them. You know what I mean? It feels fake at that point. And you don't want that. You want all of it to feel real. And so hopefully they will be able to kind of get back on track when it comes to that. And so we get an end scene here. The Stars are talking backstage. Roxy says she's got things covered and no one will suspect a thing about what's going on. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Because I don't think it has anything to do with what's about to happen. I think this is something else, something completely different. So she's planning something. So keep an eye on Roxy because she's planning something. Something's going to go down. And I'm thinking soon something's going to go down. So then Nick and Jacoby come in and they're trying to get her to go back to being good. They're like, what are you doing with Chandru? And look what you did to Ethan. You got to come back. And Nick turns on him just like I called. And he goes back over to the Stars, puts his glasses on, and he is that heel that we saw in the FCL. That's the thing. When Nick Harley came over from the FCL, he dropped that whole gimmick, really. And it didn't work for me. I was like, okay, you're just kind of boring now. And so I like that. It seems like we're going to see that FCL Nick Harley come back. So I'm excited for that. And what does this mean? Are we going to get Nick Harley versus Jacoby Bancroft maybe next week? Maybe that'll be the undercard. I don't know. I could see it and I'd be down for it. But we're definitely going to be getting Ben Bateman versus Rick Raddus next week as the main event going into the next episode of Friday Night Titans. So I'm really excited about that. Let me know your guys' thoughts on these the past 2 weeks worth of Schmoedown. I'd love to hear what you think. Hop on over to Twitter at @MovieBlogMerc. You can always leave a comment here on the YouTube channel as well. Anywhere you'd like, if you could find me, just do it. Drop me a line. I have a Facebook page as well, so you can check me out there. But yeah, that's all I got here for you. So thank you again for joining me today. I am Josh the Merc Raynor, and you can follow me on Twitter at MovieBlogMerc. If you are watching on the YouTube channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button, smash that like button if you like what you see, and click that little bell so you always get notified whenever I drop a brand new video and you want to see it. I got a lot of stuff going on here. I got How I Met Your Mother podcast, Last Call at McLaren's, which is good stuff. I've got a brand new one. I think we just put out the second episode called Battle of the Decades, 80s versus 90s. Me and my buddy Mike battle it out. He's got the 80s, I got the 90s. We pick a category, and we each take a movie from that category, and we battle it out to see if we can convince one another that our pick is the best. So check that out. And we've got, a few others as well. We got What a Marvel, where we talk about the MCU stuff. We've got Hey Mando, where we talk about the Star Wars Mandoverse stuff as well. And if you're over on the podcast feeds, whether you're on Anchor or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of them, I put up all the audios of these shows, as well as an audio exclusive show called Prime Picks, where my buddy Mike talks to various people and they discuss movies on Prime Video. Something that a lot of people don't really talk much about Prime Video, and so there's a lot of good stuff there. So they talk a lot about that. I think the most recent one was the cult classic horror film Chud. So if that's something you're into, go and check that out exclusively on the podcast feed. So again, I am Josh the Merc Raynor, and we have been talking Schmoedown. Catch you guys next time.